Thank you very much for staying with us up to this point. It's time for the news review, and I have a big surprise. It's not the papers, no. It's Bernice Abubedu-Lanza. Good morning.
Good morning. It's been a long time I appeared on the AM show. It's good to be here, watching from afar. You guys are doing a great job.
You know, since I came into this setup, I've never done this with you, so I'm actually excited.
I am excited too.
Hey, thank you so much for joining.
Pleasure.
Let's start with the headlines from today's papers. Maybe before that, though, I just think this one might sink in. Naomi Campbell at 50.
Yes, I saw that story yesterday and I was so excited, you know, because I was like, ooh, nobody saw this coming, did we? But I just love the fact that it tells you that, look, women can be what they want to be and do what they want to do in their own time. Don't be rushed, ladies. Just take your time.
Say what? Anything can happen. You know, that reminds me, the bit you just shared, I'm going to do this for the sake of, those watching us. Sometimes we don't have to be so serious. Yesterday, I shared something, and it simply says, getting your first degree after 21 is still an achievement. Being married after 30 is still beautiful. Starting a family after 35 is still possible. Buying a house after 40 is still a boss move. Don't let people rush you with their timelines.
No, I know.
So I guess Naomi has just shown it to all of us at 50. But what people are asking now, I don't think it's pertinent though, but people are asking, was it a surrogate? Who is the man and all of that? Or maybe don't be so.
He has a child.
All right, let's check out the headlines. Would you like to start with
Let me
Daily Guide?
start with what I have on the front page of the Daily Guide. Cancel Africa's debts. Akufo-Addo pushes. I know that the president is, visiting some European countries. He was in France. And on the front page of the paper, he's sandwiched between Emmanuel Macron and his wife. And the president is attending that summit. We'll bring you more on that. Details of that story on page 3. And I'll ensure religious tolerance. And this is coming from the Attorney General to, he's with the National Chief Imam. And this is in relation to all the news we've been hearing. And this very, very sad one I saw yesterday on social media, Benjamin, about a young senior high school girl who allegedly committed suicide. And the pictures were so sad to watch. Sometimes I wonder what happened to our our sensibilities. Look, yes, the girl has hanged herself, but you have to come and show us a picture of the young girl being, pulled down. I just thought that was...
her body getting stiff already and all of that. I felt it was
terrible.
But you know, when I from time to time, we see this. This isn't the first time. Look at the last decade or two. The sort of number of young people we've seen committing suicide, penning notes, some of them. I'm just wondering, are we paying attention to something like depression? It's real. And I've heard people say that this is the most depressed generation. Look, some of us, our upbringing, it was so can't in certain ways. People see us and they think, Charlie, what we went through. So some things emotionally may not shake you like that. But the youth of today, they're going through so much. And I don't know whether they are prepared
and the other
for it. And the least thing, they get depressed.
But also the thing is that because we know that young people, especially, getting to your adolescent stage, there are a lot of things that happen to you. And let's be honest, the past year and even this year, everything has been unexpected. Even for we as adults, we are trying to cope with the times, dealing because
COVID is a source of depression.
You are listening to all the news of people dying, and it's even for adults, it's difficult. I hear this lady left a note that said, of course, she says, I have serious pain, deep pain and sorrow. Who knows what it was? But here's my point, and I keep saying this, that because we know that young people especially go through all the changing phases and all the emotional and psychological issues, we decided that every high school should have a counseling department. Are they functional?
What happened to that? Look, even in the tertiary institutions, let's not even come to secondary level. The tertiary institutions, what is happening there? Because for someone like this, it could have just taken one person asking, hey, you don't look okay. What is going on with you? For her to just vent. And it's just like that. Sometimes you just have to let go of the stuff, but they keep it inside. No one asks. That poor youth or something is thinking, no one cares anyway. And we're not trying to say this is what happened, but
it brings to mind the state of our counseling departments in high schools and all the other, systems, social systems that should support people who go through some of these things, okay? So you go to a place like Konfanoche, and sometimes you wonder, if that, and the Konfanoche Psychiatry Department serves the whole of the Ashanti region. And even though some of these things must be given to clinical psychologists, the psychiatrists have to bear the burden because we don't even have enough clinical psychologists. So it's just too much. And I was very disturbed by this story myself, Benjamin. But what do you have in the Daily Graphic?
Well, I'll just react to a bit of what you said about resetting the rules for Africa's development. The story is in here as well. But look, the IMF and the World Bank, I'm thinking about the Achampong era, for example, when we said Yentia during the Achampong era. The IMF and World Bank leaders within 2 weeks had left Ghana. Okay, let's face it, people have said that the interests of the Bretton Woods institutions may not necessarily be our interest or in our interest. I mean, which country has really relied on these institutions and broken out of their economic downturns or whatever? Yes, they may be helping, but it must be homegrown. Now, why I want to focus on it, yesterday I was listening to Dr. Mensah Otabil on Joy. And he mentioned that just like with Isaac and Jacob, sometimes you must become restless to break the yoke, to break the yoke. Esau, I meant. And I don't think we've become restless enough. I don't think we've become restless enough. So basically, I think that if we get to that point where we feel leadership feels, look, we can get past this, we must do the right things, we'll get there. It's not about telling people to cancel your debt. How much of the debt will they cancel? But let's do the Daily Graphic now. And some other tricky matter that has got a lot of people talking. Decongestion. Unauthorized structures go down in Accra. So in the thick of things, Henry Quarter, the regional minister, there's the municipal chief executive, Nia J. Teria, AMA chief, Mr. Mohammed Ajay Sowa, and others. And the exercise, we all know, commenced from the UTC market on the Kwame Nkrumah Avenue through to the Farisco area along the Graphic Road to the Obechabe Lamte interchange and was highly patronized. My takeaway from this, they recovered some land and according to the minister, plans are underway to ensure that the recovered land is put to good use to beautify the capital. But did you see the traders along that stretch who were begging, imploring the president and leaders that, we voted for you and we did this and we did that? My question is, if not now, then when? If not us, then whom? We keep saying this, and I'll go back to something I shared yesterday. Former president of Luxembourg and the European Commission, Jean-Claude Juncker, he says, it's not that politicians don't know what to do, but they don't know whether they will get re-elected after they've done what they have to do. I guess that's a major problem for them, major hurdle. Yeah,
and I think for this government led by President Akufo-Addo, that should not be a worry. But they're trying to break the jinx. I'm talking about the issue of they being re-elected. We know that the president, as an individual, per our constitution, cannot run for the presidency again. But the NPP will still want to be in power. But like you ask, do we have the will to do this? Because some of these things, and you know what, the story is captured on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. And when I read the headline, what I just said to myself was, I hope we don't have people who are going backdoor, speaking to some MCE, some MP.
I can almost bet there will be
trying to say, please, don't do this. If it must be done, we should do it. So that, in the next 5 years, we will see this country and be proud of what we've made it.
We could actually make Accra a cleaner city, like we've...
Definitely.
But you see, the other side is, if you move them, these are COVID times, and this is their source of livelihood. What are the alternatives? Where are you moving them?
Well, we are told that there are markets available for them, but they keep coming onto the streets because sometimes people just don't want to
go into the markets. Are the markets fit for purpose? Sometimes you look at the markets and they are not fit for purpose.
That's a discussion for another day.
Well, very quickly through I think the style we're adopting this morning would mean that we review as we go along. So UK returns $5.8 million stolen by ex-governor to Nigeria. And this was recovered by UK agencies. The sum was stolen by a Nigerian former governor and laundered in Britain. It's now being returned. It includes, he stole an estimated $165 million from the oil-rich state, including a Bombardier Challenger jet, and 4.2 million was recovered from Ibori's wife, sister, and fiduciary agent. We need stuff like this to happen in Ghana.
What's happened to him now? I want to know. Is he being prosecuted?
I guess he was convicted in 1991 for stealing from the store, but then returned to Nigeria, got involved in politics. He evaded capture in Nigeria, and he was convicted on 10 counts of fraud worth a total of nearly $50 million in 2012. Okay. We need stuff like this to happen in Ghana. I'm not saying that anybody is corrupt, but we've had instances in the past. I don't want to mention names. What has happened to all of those people? On page 9, migrants reach Spain's Ceuta enclave in record numbers. Why I mention this, a lot of Africans are always in that mix, Ghanaians as well. But are you getting your second shot anytime soon?
Haven't received a text message yet.
I have not received a text message, but according to the date structure, so I got mine on March the 3rd. So today, I'm due, and I will be going to my center, which is pretty close. And with my card, of course, you must bear your card.
But we are being told that you're going to give new cards which have enhanced features. So I don't know if they're going to do a swap for those who have already
I suppose so.
All right, okay.
Well, even if not a swap, they're going to add on. But, you know, it's important you bring that up because eventually there also have been suggestions that maybe in the very close future, if you were traveling, you might need some of these things to show that, well, you've got 2 doses of your COVID-19 jab. That's it with the Daily Graphic newspaper. Maybe you can blaze through.
All right, quickly, the front page of the Ghanaian Times, youth demand for AstroTurf soar as Wembley constructs 10 new facilities. And we know this is happening in many constituencies across the country. And EC proposes electoral reform to improve upon future elections. Comes along with a photo of the EC chairperson, Jean Mensah. I don't know how the parties are going to react to this, especially the NDC. But efforts to save water bodies, government to dredge Parekesi and Owabi rivers. That one you did earlier on the massive demolition exercise in Accra. Unauthorized structures along ceremonial roads removed. And this one, 3 suspected kidnappers arrested. And I don't know the kind of friends you have on social media, Benjamin, but I, for the past 2 months, see a lot of posters of missing persons.
I've been seeing them too.
And it's really getting worrying for me because I don't know, and we may have to ask the police if the numbers have just changed or the methods. You know, what I'm trying to say is that, is it that we are recording higher numbers of missing persons?
People?
Or people are just now, you know, going to social media to announce the cases of missing persons?
I've always seen these things on social media, but I agree with you. In recent times, I've seen a sort of growth in the numbers that I'm seeing. And sadly, some of those, you remember the 4-year-old girl who was found, days after with her throat slit. So it's becoming, nowadays, I mean, when you hear of a missing person, your heart jumps because you're wondering what could have happened. Is the person alive or not? Is it a ritualist who has, you know, nabbed this person?
It's really, really sad. But well, the police said they've arrested some 3 suspected kidnappers. And 2021 population and housing census commences June 28. And this on the back page, and this one, which is very worrying, Benjamin. Tema General Hospital in drastic shortage of blood due to COVID-19 outbreak. And about 2 weeks ago, I went to the Ridge Hospital, which is one of our biggest referral facilities in Accra. In fact, it is the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. That's what it is. And it has a tertiary status hospital. And when Dr. Shropenyo, who is the medical director of the facility, opened the fridge, my heart sank. Benjamin, look, I'm not exaggerating, but I was totally shocked. I couldn't count 5 pints in the fridge. And you have accident victims.
The Ridge Hospital actually has one of the worst rates currently when it comes to blood.
And it's the same thing the Tema General Hospital is recording. So I don't know, please, guys, look. For some of us, in my church, for example, every year we did about 3 blood donation exercises, but because of COVID, we can't all gather. So I'd just like to encourage all of you who were participating in such exercises from your workplace or your church. You can actually just walk into these facilities and say, look, I want to donate some blood, okay? I went to pick up a friend at the 37 last week, and she was delaying, and she quickly rushed, you know, after a while and said, I'm sorry, an RTA case was brought, as a road traffic accident case was brought, and I had to issue blood. So that's why I delayed. And she said the doctor was running. God bless you all doctors who do so much to save lives. She said, look, when the doctor came, he was so desperate to get blood. The difficult thing was this person was O negative. And like that's rare. Yeah. So
and that's the issue with some of us. Sometimes it's difficult. I am O positive. In fact, I donated blood only last Sunday. And you know what? It's on the back of, it had been a while. It was on the back of a lady on, I think, the Pulse, who came from the Greater Accra Regional Hospital and spoke about the fact that they have 20 to 25% of their blood needs. What does that mean? 75% of cases that come to them would mean that if you need blood, you likely would die. And I am O positive, at least quite a number of those in the blood group can use mine. Yeah. So in church on Sunday, I just said, what the heck? They checked me, I was good to go. Yeah. I did it. And I think I am committing that every 4 months, because you can do it every 4 months. Yeah. It's dire. So look, if you can, you are healthy, you don't have any diseases that would strike you out, go and donate, because it could be you, yourself, it could be your relative.
I know, right? Because this road traffic accident victim, I'm sure the person is thinking, why would I need blood? I'm not going to surgery, I'm not pregnant, blah, blah, blah. But here you are involved in an accident, and they need blood to save your life. It was critical. Guys, I mean, we can't stress this enough. Please, if you can, just donate blood to save a life.
Let me highlight this on page 9 of the Finder newspaper. From accountant to mushroom queen, Ghanaian woman rakes in fortune over people's appetite. I just wanted to cite this because, look, sometimes we're so, Miko school, then I'm accountancy. So, look, I often share with people, and my background has nothing to do with journalism. But Ejako Nimo here doing his thing. So let's all, especially in these COVID times, we need to adapt very quickly to do something. I think that will be it for the final.
Okay, quickly, let me just do the front page of the Daily Dispatch. Government official dares Extra Mining Limited to go to court. And you know that statement that was released, the company saying it wasn't involved in illegal mining, but some of its excavators were burned. Well, government says, sure, you can go to court if you think that we perpetrated an illegality. But Baumia should be MPP's 2024 flag bearer. That's Professor Michael Quay. Security is not EC's job, but life should never be lost in an election. Jean Mensa, finally, we hear something from the EC about the lives lost during the elections. But I don't know. What do you make of this statement? Security,
what do I make of it? I think some of what she says, for example, she says, I think they are blanket statements. The EC did a good job, very good job in the last election. Of course, there are other problems, but you can't say that when you are at the helm of affairs conducting an election, certain things that happen simply because per the Constitution, they did not directly lie under your purview, that they had nothing to do with you. It could be certain processes that led to those incidents, which you could be. But let's leave it at that. Something she says, for example, that no one contracted COVID-19 on the back of, queuing and all. I mean, per which statistics? Who did the analysis? So some of these things are a bit difficult to swallow. But I think by and large, they did a good job. They deserve their commendation.
All right. And this one, Galamsey has reduced Ghana Water Company Limited's capacity for safe water from 4 million gallons. 4 million gallons of water to 1 million in Obuasi. Guys, look, and for those of you who think that, we are just doing
they think it's again, a joke. We're making too much noise.
Look. For the past few months, I've struggled to access water through my taps. I have to pay.
For you, the few months? It was over a year for me.
I have to pay. Sometimes when they come in, they're like, we've increased it because we didn't get water. We had to go, farther. So we have to pay for fuel cost and all that. And I'm like, look, I'm just paying so much for one tanker to fill my poly tank when I could use that same amount to pay for the whole month of water from Ghana Water Company Limited. You get what I mean? Yeah. So please, for those of you who think that this Galamsey thing, like Safoseni said on the Express, and don't let us politicize this thing. Let's look, just like the structures cited in unauthorized places and all
waterways and all.
Let's deal with our problems once and for all and make this country. I hear stories. My aunties, my mother tells me of how the bus used to come at a certain time. You couldn't leave rubbish here. The town council will come, and I'm excited that wow, Ghana used to be like this.
The question is, what happened?
If we have the capacity, let's go back.
We happened. Well, we have to wrap, but the Republic Press this morning, maybe before I get to that, just this headline: newborns to get Ghana card in a month. In a month, newborns are to get that. Let's see how that goes. Republic Press, I just want us to discourse on this matter and then go online. DCOP Opariado was sacked, National Security Boss insists. But does it justify in any way what happened to him? Now, totally, it's being... What happened to him is being discounted, totally. And I'm asking myself, okay, are we saying this did not happen at all, that the man just came and lied to all of us? I don't know what your take is, Bernice. We could wrap up.
You know, I just wanted to say something, then I remembered my sister. You know, I mean, it was just funny, you know. But you know, Benjamin, I don't know why we try to justify some of these things. I don't know why, Benjamin. I think that we should get to a point where we are people of principle. Okay, so Benjamin, it doesn't matter if you're my friend. As a matter of principle, I do not accept people being treated like they're animals, or people being disrespected. It's my principle. So if you are my friend, or even my mother or my father, I must be a person of principle and tell you, look. But it appears that in this country, people choose what to defend depending on whether they like the party in power or not. And
it depends on where they lie on the political spectrum. I mean, we heard Yawabena Samoa, Director of Communications of the party, say he is shaming the party and this government has been good to him and all of that. Look, what does that have to do with if I feel there has been an illegality?
And this is not the first time this is happening.
It's the second time in the same region.
Same region. Look, and I'm like, Benjamin, this, I don't know for the life of me why anybody would want to defend this. And we must see the president, we must see the presidency take a stance on this matter. Because, you know, when things like this happen and they are silent, I kind of feel they embolden. You know, they embolden such people.
And one takeaway for me as we wrap, the bit about, you know, the Delta Forces doesn't exist, but some of them could have been incorporated into national security, and that these bodies
have every
right to get some of these people in there. And I'm thinking...
In that way? Is that how...
And you know what other people have said? If you do it, then the next party also comes to power and wants to get their people in to equal the equation. Well, that's all time will allow us to actually do. The conversation continues. But coming up next is Sports Tuesday.